Once the applicant submits the form along with the documents, the next step is to classify those documents and store them in the appropriate folders. To do this, we use an internal process in combination with the Azure API. The purpose of the internal process is to invoke Azure's API. In Azure, we begin by uploading 3 to 5 sample documents for each category. These are used to train Azure to recognize and classify the documents accordingly. Each category is assigned a type during this training process. Whenever we trigger a workflow that calls this Azure API, it classifies the uploaded documents and sends a response back. Based on this response, we then move the documents into their respective folders using the workflow engine. Before setting up the workflow, however, we need to prepare our folder structure in the DMS. Let us start by opening the DMS. We will begin by creating a main folder named Applicant Documents. This will serve as the common folder where all uploaded documents will initially be stored. Based on the Azure API response, we will later classify these documents and move them to their correct destinations. Within the Applicant Documents folder, we will create 3 subfolders: Hotel Booking, Bank Statement, and Passport Documents. Now, let us move on to configuring the workflow. To do that, we will open the Workflow Composer form. Click the plus icon to create a new workflow. Since we are working with documents in the DMS, we will choose Document Rule as the workflow type. The system will automatically detect the corresponding table where the document data is stored. You can also rename the workflow, for example, to Document Classification. The data access level should be set to Client plus Organization. Now, we need to add a trigger condition. Since documents are uploaded without any category, the workflow should be triggered only when the document category is not defined. For that, we will add a custom condition where the document category I-D is equal to 0. This ensures the workflow will run whenever a document is uploaded without a predefined category. Save the record to proceed. After saving, you will be redirected to the Actions page. On the left-hand panel, under App Process as Action, drag the process node into the workflow space. This node is used to call the Azure API. We will bind it to the process named VA015, classify documents, and save the record. Once we get the classification response from Azure, we will need to store the documents in the correct folders. For this, we will create 3 different Move Document nodes. Each will correspond to one of our subfolders. The workflow starts by saving uploaded documents into the main Applicant Documents folder. From there, based on the Azure response, documents are moved into one of the 3 subfolders: Hotel Booking, Bank Statement, and Passport Documents. After saving the first Move node, repeat the same process to create 2 more for the remaining folders. Now that we have defined the nodes, we will arrange their execution order. The workflow starts with a Start node, which is followed by the Process node that calls Azure's API. Once we receive a classification response, the system should check the document type and route it accordingly. If the document type matches one of our trained categories, we will set up conditions for each Move node. To do this, click on the condition icon for the Move node and add the required logic. For example, for hotel booking documents, The condition should match the exact type name that was used while training Azure. The relevant document type field is in VA115 document in forms. For each condition, we will compare the document type field with the corresponding trained value, such as hotel booking. Repeat this step for passport documents and bank statements. In case the document does not match any of the defined types, we can handle it using a no match or default condition. Set the execution sequence as 10, 20, and 30 respectively, so the workflow evaluates the conditions in the correct order. Once classification and document routing are done, we need to provide access to the appropriate users. For this, we have created a new role called Applicant Intake Department. This role will have access to the classified documents. To set this up, we will create a forward document node. In this node, we will assign the Applicant Intake Department role to grant access to the appropriate users. If you need to create a new role, go to the Role window, click New, and enter the role name as Applicant Intake Department, or any name that suits your workflow. Set the user level to client or organization, choose Manual, and save the record. After the role is created, go back to the Workflow Composer. In the Forward Document node, select the newly created role. You will see a panel where you define to whom the access will be granted. Select Applicant Intake Department and save the changes. This Forward Document node ensures that each folder and its contents are accessible to users with the designated role. We now link this node to follow each of the Move Document nodes, so once a document is moved, access is automatically granted. Finally, save and activate the workflow. This entire process, from classification to access control, is fully automated through the workflow, with no manual intervention required after the document is submitted.